This is Stephen G. Erickson. I'm with Randy Sykes. It's October 11th, and I understand that you have a Lyme disease protest in Hartford. Where is that going to be?
Farmington, Connecticut.
Farmington, Connecticut.
Yukon Medical Center from 11 to 1 tomorrow.
And it's at what, exit 39B?
Exit 39, yeah. This says Yukon. It'll say Yukon exit to the hospital.
And where in the parking lot?
Right on Route 4. They don't want us on the property, so we can be within the 10-foot range of the curb. The state owns that property.
Okay. The reason for the protest is?
Just the fact that people aren't being diagnosed and treated. Several people that are employed by that hospital are downplaying the disease.
Okay. Why is that, do you think?
It's controversial for one thing, but there's enough evidence out there to prove that this infection can persist. And they just are downplaying it for maybe the insurance companies don't want to pay.
I understand that I understand there's a couple that's, what, a mile away, that they both have Lyme disease?
Yeah, this goes back about 3 years ago. A couple in their early to mid-70s. They maintained their house, snow blew the driveway, painted the house, grocery shopping, whatever they needed. And they both became stricken down with arthritis. They went into a hospital in Hartford, ran all kinds of tests on them, came back with nothing conclusive, except sed rate was elevated. And what they ended up doing was they diagnosed them with rheumatoid arthritis. So the son went into the doctor, who's in Avon, and he says, "Doc, have you tested my parents for Lyme disease?" The doctor leans across his desk and smiles and says, "No, son, why would I test your parents for Lyme disease? Lyme, Connecticut's 30 minutes away from here." Now this is in Connecticut where this thing started. The medical ignorance is overwhelming.
All right. I understand that you work for the Department of Transportation in Connecticut?
Yeah.
For how long?
I was there about 14 and a half years.
So you're a hard-working man.
Used to be.
And when did you get stricken with Lyme where you could no longer work?
Not really sure, because I started having heart palpitations real bad. I'd have to just lay down wherever I was. I couldn't catch my breath, dizzy, weak. And then it started moving on to the joint pain, fatigue, memory problems. So I'm not really sure if the heart-related thing was something that kicked in with the Lyme, or just a freak thing that happened and the Lyme came after. Roughly 1999, I was pretty sick by then.
All right. Are there entire families that are stricken with Lyme?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about, you mentioned a girl had her intestines out. Why don't you tell me about that story?
She was having intestinal problem, what they call ulcerated colitis, which we have papers on.
Yep.
That this can be linked. It can be linked to Lyme. They ended up doing surgery, performing surgery on her, removing most of her large intestine, and gave her a colostomy.
Uh-huh.
And I guess after she went on antibiotics, she went on antibiotics sometime after that because other symptoms were flaring up. Headache, blurred vision, stiff neck, fatigue. Went on antibiotics and basically improved. Everything improved, and now they've reversed whatever the surgery, they reversed it.
All right, so her entire family had Lyme, or?
Oh yeah, everybody. These people lost their house. This is one of many. I can't give you their names, but I could name 5, 6 people right now.
So, are they all bitten by ticks, or did the mother pass it on to the children? What's the?
There's a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Most people never knew they were bitten by a tick because they're so small. They say about 70% never see the tick.
So there's no ring, no anything.
About 40% get the bullseye rash. There was a study done by Dr. Quinenti, I think it was. He did a study on the Western blot. Well, the whole system for testing is a joke because the first thing they do is when they test you for Lyme, they use the ELISA.
Yes.
And if the ELISA comes back negative, you don't have Lyme. If the ELISA comes back positive, you don't have Lyme. If it comes back positive, they will now go with the Western blot. And I think it's like 60 or 70% of the people will be lost between those two tests.
So at different stages, you could have a false negative for testing, correct?
Yep. You could have a false positive, more false negatives. In fact, Dr. Parenti was giving a demonstration. It's on Lyme.org, on the Lyme Disease Foundation's website. And he said that they took people with a bullseye rash. Everybody agreed, bullseye rash. The erythema migraine is Lyme disease. They cultured spirochetes from these bullseye rashes.
Yes.
And then went forward with the Western blot.
Yep.
They lost 34% of the people. 34% of the people tested negative with full-blown Lyme and a bullseye rash with cultured spirochetes.
So,
Testing's a joke.
so who's making out? The insurance companies?
Well, I think the insurance companies probably don't want to pay for the treatment, that's for sure.
And why would doctors go along with this?
Well, there's a couple of groups between Yale and UConn that are bullying people. And these people, they'd rather just not lose their license or be under attack, so they just kind of shun it away. I mean, if we're talking to people on the phone and we say, yeah, you've got the symptoms of Lyme, get to a Lyme literate physician, somebody that cares, and go for it, see what you come up with. And they do some testing. Most of the people have infections, co-infections like Bartonella. In Connecticut and the East Coast, you've got a better chance on having Bartonella than you do Lyme disease. And everybody talks about Lyme disease.
What other diseases that people may have which would actually be Lyme? Was it Parkinson's?
We've had Parkinson's. First of all, fibromyalgia. That's a positive test for Lyme. If you're told that you have fibromyalgia, you can go over to my cellar stairs and fall down. At the bottom stair, you'll have fibromyalgia. It means body pain.
Yep.
And if you have fibromyalgia, like 99% of the people have Lyme.
Meningitis?
Yeah, well, the meningitis, you get the infection which moves into the brain. We've got 3 Lou Gehrig's people in our group. We've helped 166 people with multiple sclerosis.
Yep. So MS?
Every one of them had Lyme or co-infections.
Chronic fatigue syndrome?
That's a tricky one. I think a lot of that is viruses, but we have helped people with the chronic fatigue.
What I'm saying is that are those sometimes misdiagnosed, which they're actually Lyme?
Oh yeah, yeah. But chronic fatigue, they've been finding now that a lot of these people have viruses that are triggered. As you're going through life, you can be exposed to the Epstein-Barr. There's all types of herpesviruses and whatever. And when you get Lyme disease, these viruses have been beaten down over the years. Your immune system can't kill them, but it puts them at bay.
Yep.
When you get Lyme disease, your immune system is overwhelmed, and these viruses start popping back up on you. So that's where the chronic fatigue. Chronic fatigue, they're doing a study now on these viruses.
Okay. I'm letting that one initially.